Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Wake Up and Show Up with your girl, Cara Cherise, founder and creator of Pretty Passionate, and Dr. Lauren Borden. Today, we are talking about the call. So, super excited. So, as Dr. Lauren Borden joins, and folks filter in, good morning, guys. We are going to listen to some jams. Okay, so like I said, today we're talking about the call with Dr. Lauren Borden and myself. So as people filter in, we're going to listen to some music and wait for Lauren to join us, okay? So. Happy Monday! I'm going to try to get this thing pinned on the screen for us. Morning! All right, let's get this topic pinned on the screen this morning. Lauren! Boy, I trust you and I'm gonna bring you up here, Lauren. You remind me of pain, but I can't ignore you. As I met you, boy, I try to really get to play to eventually just lose to you. Can I get another chance to hold you till no more, baby?
Hey, you look fabulous. Oh my god, you look awesome. Hi. Like you got like Beyonce vibes right now. I love it. Oh wait, you're a little foggy. Can you see me?
Listen, give me a stage. Wait, so let's
seriously give this girl a stage.
Wait, so as we,
what?
Because you know I gotta pin our topic on the screen. So I'm gonna play this song as requested by Lauren this morning as I get this topic.
Yes.
Let's do it. Good morning, guys.
Let's do it. I was like, can I DJ? Actually, no, I can't DJ. I'm not.
Wait, hold on. It's starting. Wait, we got to let it rock for a few minutes, guys. As people are joining,
I know, because
we're going to rock out, and I'm going to get this topic pinned on the screen. We're talking about the call today. Can you hear?
I do. I've been practicing the TikTok song.
Let me see. Dance. What you been practicing?
Have you seen the TikTok dance yet?
Yeah. Girl, I can't.
He say the way that thing move is a move.
Come on, let me see the dance moves, Lauren.
I'm not dancing on screen.
Alright, I'm gonna try to.
I need. Yeah, it's too early. I need a couple glasses of wine before I can do this on screen.
Stupid. What's happening? All right, let me pin this topic. If you want to talk and set us up for this morning. Good morning, guys. Cara Cherise here, founder and creator of Pretty Passionate. I'm gonna pin this topic.
Yes. Okay. She's got it. So the topic we're talking about today, it came up in last week's live. It's this thing. So we're calling it the call. And really like the thing that we're describing is that, you know, for some people it's a moment or like a giant realization that you have, like suddenly like the blindfold gets ripped off of you and you're like, oh my God, this is the thing I want to do. Or sometimes it builds. And like, sometimes it's just like that feeling that you're meant for something more. And so like, we're calling that the call. And it's like, what does that actually feel like? What does it look like? What do you do? How do you know you're having it? I don't know. We can unpack all kinds of things today. But Cara and I both had this experience a few years ago where like, we were in our very comfortable corporate jobs that I think both of us pretty much expected to be in forever. Like for me, I was like, oh, this is great. I got my PhD. I did all the things. I knew exactly what I thought I knew exactly what the rest of my life would look like. And then I started feeling this like rumbling almost like this weird, it was like this feeling like in my gut where I was like, this cannot be all there is. There's gotta be something else. And I didn't know what the hell to do with it. Cara, you had that, didn't you?
Oh, yes, girl. Like you're speaking, like to your point, in a job that literally was my dream career, you know, since a very young girl. And I kind of always felt something rumbling in my spirit. But as I got older, it started to get louder and louder and louder and more uncomfortable.
Yes.
And for me, it was like the call to, like you said, it's like that inner knowing or that surge to like shed old beliefs and ideas of what success looks like, right? But then also that call to like show up in a bigger way, right? And
Yes.
to do more, to be more, to serve, right? And to step into my purpose. And I remember this quote that I had posted a few years ago that it stays with me. And it was like it said it was like, why haven't you done more with what I've given you? And it was signed God. And I was like, and it always stays with me. And I'm like, you know, throughout my 10-year career, you know, in all that I've been doing and all that I've been exposed to and what I was able to get from that. And I've been in a very great position. And I'm like, but I can do more. And that was like my goal.
Oh man. Well, it was like, Cara, I don't know if there was so much that I want to unpack in what you said, because there's one piece of this, which is like, it feels a little bit, for both of us, I know there was a very spiritual component. So like when I started feeling it initially, I'm not like my spiritual life and a lot of the spiritual breakthroughs I've had have been relatively recent. Like I grew up in a very Christian family, and then sort of rebelled very hard against it. And then kind of like my spirituality kind of lit up a little bit later in life. And the beginning of my call was really not in a period of time where I had that. I was just like, but it's interesting because now that you say that, now that I'm thinking about it, I do think a lot of the framing that I experienced as a kid kind of helped me like make sense of it a little bit. Cause I would just think of my mom saying, like, my mom used to tell me, oh, this is like total like mom love moment, but she'd just be like, you've been through way too much. Are we swearing on this? She's like, you've been through way too much crap. No. Okay.
No, do it.
Way too much crap for your life to mean nothing. Be real. Okay, cool. If y'all have children, put your headphones in. Okay. Yeah. But my mom was like, you've been through way too much shit for your life to just mean nothing. Like for it to just be another, like there have been too many things that should have taken you out, would have taken most people out, for this to just mean nothing. Like she's like, you are meant for something. And I just got chills. Mom. Yeah, my mama. But
hopefully she's
like,
going today.
I know. Maybe she will. I should text her. She was on like very briefly for our first one. It goes, Kathy Stover has joined the live. And I'm like, oh, hi, Mom. I never told you, my dad is very anti-tattoo, and he started watching when I was talking about my tattoo. Like, and I was like, hey, Dad, got a tattoo. Anyway, that's a total tangent. Like, sorry, Dad. But I think that like kind of helped frame my thinking a little bit, because it really had me scanning the world for meaning. And so because of that, for me, when I got into like, the further I got into consulting, and for a long time I was working as a consultant in organizations, basically helping them develop like their employment and their selection systems and like a lot of their testing and things like that, which was so interesting. But I remember just thinking, this can't be it. Like, this can't be like the meaning of my life. And I was not knocking that work. That work was amazing. And I found it super mentally engaging and all these things. And it can be really meaningful, but for me, it didn't light me up. And I remember that was when I was kind of like questioning. Yeah. And then I think for you, it was like, I kind of hit like Cara's stage a little bit later. But so for me, it was very gradual. It was like a slow lifting of like the veil, where eventually, yeah. But does that resonate with you at all? Do you feel like that?
Yes. Let me tell you. Yes. I'm going to let you finish your thought, and then I'll share kind of my experience. But yes, I agree. It was a slow lifting of the veil. And that's when I said, like, I always felt it and I would try to ignore it, right? Because I'm in my early 20s. I want to live life and do what everyone else is doing. And as I've gotten older, it started getting louder. And I'm like, wait. No, not now. Not now. Right? And
not
now, because it's it's heavy. And my dad is an entrepreneur. So I feel in some sense I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And early on, I knew that at some point I was going to be an entrepreneur, right? Because that's true freedom. And I see my dad do it. But I started to feel the call in my 20s. And I'm like, wait, no,
Yep.
I just got a promotion at work. Like, I don't want to do it right now. Like, maybe later.
Yes.
Maybe later, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I know you were talking, so I'm gonna let you finish your experience, and then I'm gonna like dive in.
That's literally exactly, because it was that just like sent shivers down my spine, because I tried so hard to ignore it. I was like, I'm just being an entitled millennial. This is just the thing that our generation does, and everybody hates it. I just need to stop. Like, I'm being entitled. I'm being crazy. Just leave it alone. So I kept putting one foot in front of the other, and then I finished my PhD, and then it was like, wait. I just like spent 6 years of my 20s where everyone else was off living in some big city, having a ton of fun, you know, getting married, starting to have babies. And I'm in like Akron, Ohio, writing my 200-page dissertation. And I'm going to throw this shit away because I have a feeling that I'm meant for something else. Are you kidding me? So I spent so much time fighting it and being like, no, this is not. I'll stay here. Everything's fine. And really, frankly, spent a lot of time beating myself up for not being the type of person who could enjoy and just be satisfied with that kind of life. And like,
oh my God.
Oh, I know. I don't know if we've ever talked about this.
Wait, guys, just so you guys know, like Lauren and I, like Lauren is like me. I am Lauren. We're like,
it's really weird.
We have
weird.
the same, again, and people who've been on our lives and spoke to us before, I'm sure you guys know this by now, but we have the same birthday. We were born in the same hospital.
We'll say it every week, y'all, because that's how friggin' weird it is.
And our lives, literally, when I took my big leap and I left my corporate job, she was doing the same thing. Like, our lives have literally been so parallel.
Totally parallel.
It's like kind of creepy. And so Lauren and I, just to give you guys a little background, we met last year in maybe like September. And an amazing woman that I worked with introduced me to Lauren, that I used to work with, introduced me to Lauren. And Lauren was actually working with her as well as a client. And ever since then, literally the first phone conversation Lauren and I had, we were on the phone for like an hour, like 2 hours, if not, like it was just flowing. And I was like, holy crap, I feel like I've been looking for you. Yeah, I feel like I've been looking for you all my life. Where have you been?
Oh my gosh, and even the story of how that client, like, so that client who I love, and I'm not going to say her name on here because confidentiality, but oh my gosh, I love her so much. We're still friends. And she was someone who found me right when I started. It I was coaching, but I was like really like my business had not taken off. She found my website, which like is not like, it's not like I have some, I am not a marketing genius. Like I do none of that. My business is really through word of mouth. And her mother found my website. She's the only client who has ever come through my website. It was like a total, and we ended up working together for like, I don't remember how long, it was like 2 years or something, or a year and a half maybe. But she's such a wonderful person. So like just the way that Cara and I met was very like serendipitous. Like I shouldn't have met that client. Like that shouldn't have happened, because that doesn't just happen where someone just randomly finds your website and they're like not a scammer, especially that early in the game. And then this was like really when it got, I can't overestimate this. This was like really when I got started, and my website was basically just like my face and a bio. And like, yeah. And then Cara and I just like totally hit it off. And yeah, it's so weird, because the more we talk about our lives, the more like Cara will be like, wait, I'm dealing with that. That's how you sound like me. Like I've been saying that for the last 3 months. It's very strange, but I'm so grateful for it.
So grateful for it. So grateful for you. Like so grateful for this journey and you being with me on this journey. Like it has been a real blessing in my life. And so back to your experience of always feeling it, like you, I was always feeling it and trying to run away from it, right? And so we're talking about the call, and I always was feeling like, okay, so it probably started, actually we were talking about how you was like feeling bad that you weren't doing what everyone else was doing, right? And you weren't happy with what you had. And it wasn't that you weren't happy, right? Like you were happy and I was happy. I loved my job, loved my career. I just felt that there was something pulling on me to do more, to express more. And all my life, honestly, anyone who knows me, since right out of college, I hit the ground running, and I've been like, but there's more, but there's more, but there's more. And honestly, it started for me right after, like, more intensely, not intense, but it started to pick up a little bit right after college. The call is what we're talking about. So right after college, I had my last year in college, actually. So like my junior year to my senior year, I had got an internship in the city. And at the time, you know, glitz and glamour, I'm like, I want to be in the city and marketing and entertainment. That's what I want to do. And so I start this internship, and from there, it began to open my eyes, because as a woman growing up in Newark, New Jersey, you know what I'm saying? And just in New Jersey in general, it's very suburban. Everyone's like family, whatever, you know. And then for me, adding a layer in like Newark, New Jersey, I went to school in Newark, lived in Irvington. It was very much like you saw people who lived to survive, right? That was their living. I'm going to work, I'm paying my bills to survive. And you saw a lot of times people living paycheck to paycheck. And this is, as you grow up, what you assume life is, right? And then it wasn't until I started having these internships in entertainment where I started to see people in creative roles, you know, singers, actresses, musicians, and even hairstylists, makeup artists who loved their work. They lit up, right? And they were excited, and they were just gleaming with joy, and I'm like, yo, this is when it started. I'm like, yo, whatever this person has, I want. Right. And I'm like, seeing all these people coming in, and they're fabulous, but not even just looking fabulous. Their aura is just amazing. Their light is just amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, right? I'm like, yo, whatever these people got, I want it. And so very early on, I realized that it wasn't about working hard, right? Working hard is one, but it's not just working hard, because I'm sure we all know people who work hard, but they're still broke, busted, and disgusted, and still not happy, right? So early on, I realized that it wasn't just about working hard. It was something else that these people tapped into, and I got to figure it out. And so from my early 20s is when I started this quest, if you will, on this journey of personal development, self-development, looking at universal law. I started being exposed to universal law, intuition, and spirituality. But again, I was in my early 20s. So I was researching and uncovering it, but I wasn't practicing it, because you have to be very disciplined to practice a lot of that stuff. And also to separate what society is telling you, what your friends are telling you versus what your purpose is saying. And so I would research it and put it on the back burner, and then go on to live my life, right? I'm like living my life. I'm traveling, whatever. And
that's exactly what
right. And like, long story short, I felt the call. And then I'm like, wait, not right now. I just started my career. God, I just started my career. I love it here. Like, this is my dream job. I love this. No, not right now. I'm ignoring it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, not right now.
Not right now.
I'll come back to you later.
I'll come back to you later. And even at that time, I was just like, no. Let me tell you, when I first started to really feel it, I was like, no. Because what I saw in my head and what was downloaded in my spirit scared. We're swearing on here, scared the shit out of me. I was like, wait, God, you want me to do what? You want me to speak in front? I can't even speak in front of, at the time, I had great fear of public speaking.
Me too. I don't know if we've ever taught that. I mean, it's not like, that's like the most common fear, you know, people are like more afraid than that, than like spiders and murderers and shit. But yeah, I did.
Right. So I'm gonna get through this really quickly, but I had a great fear of public speaking. So at the time, God, like what I saw and what I was feeling, I was scared. I was like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I think you got the wrong person. You better go get chick over here. I can't speak in like what I'm seeing, the vision that I'm seeing, the call that you were putting in my spirit. I can't do that. No. I'm here in my career. I'm having fun. This is my dream. I'm doing that. So then I went on in my career. A few years would pass and I felt it again. Started to feel it again a little more intensely. And I'm like, okay, I get it. maybe this is when I started being like, well, maybe I can do this. My dad is an entrepreneur. Okay, maybe I can do it, but still not right now. Maybe later on in life. All right, going through my career, got promoted, whatever, killing it, right? Traveling. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. This is amazing. Started feeling it again. And I'm like, God, like not right now. I just got a promotion. Like I'll do it.
It's like a rumbling. Yep.
A rumbling. So then the last time was in 2018. And, you know, I'll wrap it up by saying this. I'll wrap up like my personal experience by saying this, like 2018, things started to get really uncomfortable for me in my current like job. I love my job, but it was just things, I guess, personal, whatever, just started to get super uncomfortable. Like, and I started to feel the call even more crazy, like to the point where like legit, I would be like crying. And I'm like, because it was just this pull in my spirit. And I'm like, yo, I don't know what to do about this, but I really love my job. Like, I want to stay here. And I would just be like crying some days. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? And so then I started to get like, I'm very spiritual. I'm very much in tune with God and stuff. And so what I do know is that I love God, but I'm also afraid of God, because at the end of the day, when he wants you to move and do something, he will make you do it. You know what I'm saying? And it could look in the, if you keep saying no, it will look it could look like you getting fired from your job. If the thing he wants you to get you in alignment with your life, it'll look like you getting fired from your job, laid off from your job, that relationship he's been telling you like red flag, and you keep going back, he's gonna bruise you. Like, that's why so many people are being in these traumatic situations, because they've been knowing and feeling, this ain't right, but I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. And so for me, when I started to feel it in my current job, and it started getting more intense, I was like afraid, because I'm like, holy crap, if I don't move now and go, God is gonna make me go, and it's gonna look, who knows what's gonna happen, right? And so I started to put the wheels in motion. October 2018, I'll never forget the month. I literally looked at my journal last night. I wrote 3 pages of what 2.0 Cara would look like. And that's when I began to put the wheels in motion to create my strategy and my exit, and to not only just leave my 9 to 5, but to leap into what God was calling me to do.
Oh my gosh. There's so much in what you said. Yeah. And like, I think, and now I'm thinking also of what that end piece looked like for me. Cause it really was like, it started with this feeling of like, I want to do something more meaningful, but again, later, there's something wrong with me for wanting this. I should just be happy. Look what everyone else is doing. And I also love, Cara, like one of the things that's really amazing about I think our partnership like, is that you are like our stories are so parallel, and like our thought processes are so similar. And like one of the differences that like I like to put out there is that like I grew up in a very privileged, surrounded by a very privileged group of people, like also in New Jersey, but like
again, folks, sorry to cut you off. A few people just joined. We had the same birthday, born in the same hospital. Lauren is my twin. I am Lauren. Lauren is sorry.
Yeah, like I'm like, it's so like, Cara, like you grew up in Newark, like I grew up in this very small, very affluent town, surrounded by people, these like mini mansions. I'm making it sound insane, but like, and you know, my brother went to boarding school, kind of all of these things. And I remember looking around really early on and being like, and watching like the rat race, and like how stressed everyone was. And like these marriages, my parents have a wonderful marriage, and my parents are really, I would say, really the exception to the, like in a lot of ways, the exception to the rule, but was really like looking at these people, and I was like, you have everything. Like you have everything. You're supposed to be happy. Like, isn't this supposed to make you happy? And like watching these like normal, very traditional career trajectories, and people going and they go to Wharton and they get the law degree, they get the PhD, all these things, and they go and they live these like lives that look like they should be on the cover of like a friggin' Architectural Digest or something, like with like these houses, and obviously a very like materialistic kind of way of looking at things. But I started asking a lot of the same questions, where I was like, wait, what does fulfillment look like? Like, what does it mean for when like passion becomes like passion and purpose and and your gifts like all overlap. And like, what does that look like versus just this, like, I need to just work harder and harder and harder. And I started kind of asking, because initially it was really me kind of being like, well, it's not that. I know it's not that. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not that. And it was really scary for me because I was like, wait, but like this path is so well paved. Like it's so well paved. I could just go get the PhD. I could do the consulting and everything and be really, and I'm so, first of all, privileged to have grown up that way. Like, I'm so grateful for all of that. I'm not undercutting it at all. But what I'm grateful for also is that I saw that it's not just about having the perfect life with everything that looks beautiful on the surface. Like, I'm like, it's not just about having the career that's like, that makes everybody, I call it the cocktail party effect. Like, you go to the cocktail party and it's like, oh, I'm dating this new guy.
Everyone's perfect.
I got this new job. And everyone's like oohing and ahhing. Like, I remember when I said I was going to get my PhD when I was like 21, and everyone's like, ooh, I loved the reactions. Oh my God, I loved them so much. And that was so motivating to me. And like, I was like, wait, but it can't just be this. And so I started asking questions and I started reading more and I started exploring myself. I started meditating and like, same thing where I just had this deep inner, like, wait, like, there's got to be something else. And there's also, for me, a lot of it was like wanting to be service oriented. How can I actually make an impact on the world? But at the same time, thinking I was crazy for wanting that.
Yeah.
And like thinking I was like, well, but why? But this, like, I'm supposed to want this. And it really wasn't until years and years later where it was the same thing where I just had this like I actually, Cara, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but it actually got to the point where it made me kind of physically ill. Like you can look at photos of me. My skin started breaking out. I started getting these crazy migraines. Like it felt like my body was literally telling me like, it's time to get out.
Oh, wait.
And yeah, tell me. Yeah, jump in.
Real quick. So when I was, you know, in the process of about to leave and like, just extremely uncomfortable with my current circumstance at my last job or whatever, but not because of the job, you know, it was a mixture, you know, just everyday corporate stuff, right? But then also what was happening internally, I began to get not like super sick, but I started breaking out like all over my neck.
Yeah.
Like complete, like my
so
body was like almost like you gotta go.
Why?
Like it got to the point where I was like, yo, I have to get out of here. Like I have to go and like I have to go now. Like I have to go. And so to your point about getting sick. It's
like the universe is shaking you.
Yeah. I
wake up.
I was shaking. And you know, it's a gospel song by what's her name? Jacqueline Carr. And she talks about the shaking. And I literally was shaking up. Like I remember I was at my job and I was coming out of the bathroom and I was crying and I ran into one of my coworkers in the hallway. And he was trying to introduce me to his sister. So I had to like look up and I couldn't like hide my face.
You're like, pull it together. Yep.
Right. But he saw me. He's like, what's wrong? Are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And afterwards, like when I was put in my 2 weeks and I was leaving, I told him I was crying that day because not that my conditions at work was bad, but the call in my spirit was so intense that I felt like I had to get to this thing. Like I had to get to pretty passionate, that purpose. Like I had to get to that. And this is stopping me. This is stopping me from getting to it. And it was so intense.
It's like, well, it's uncomfortable. This is the other thing I want to bring up. Like, I feel like we could both just talk probably about our like stories the whole time, but y'all probably, I want to like also highlight some things here. And one is that
me too,
that rumbling thing we're pointing to doesn't just happen once.
Yeah.
Like for us, it was very acute. It was very, very intense because there was a very clear, like, get back in alignment. If you are out of alignment, that is the next to the most uncomfortable thing. I have dealt with acne, cluster headaches, like the kind of headaches I need to go to the ER for, like horrible, horrible things. Like when you're out of alignment, you're literally like your body will react in this way. And like, emotional upset, you know, like things like depression and anxiety. And by the way, I'm not saying there isn't like a very real reason that we deal with these things, but like, and a very scientific medical reason that we deal with these things, but it is rampant right now. Like
because
those things are
everybody's,
rampant.
a lot of people
And
are
it's
out of
because
alignment.
everybody is on like this hamster wheel. And it's like, and I think it's really interesting because people think that that will solve it. And it's not. It's about snapping back into alignment with who you are and who you were actually born to be.
Yes.
And like it hurts when you're doing it because it involves letting go of like what everybody thinks that you're gonna be, what you know is safe. Like it feels so safe. It's like, well, if I stay here in this job that is slowly, even if it looks beautiful, like if I ignore this thing, I know that if I stay here, I could be successful. Success is guaranteed here. Mm-hmm. It is so scary letting go of that. But not moving, the cost of not listening to that voice is so high. And I have to tell you too, like, that was the first time I really experienced it was with my career. I've dealt with that. I've seen that like with purchasing coaching programs. I've had this with relationships. I've had it with, when something just doesn't quite feel right in my gut. Like the times when I have ignored that, it has literally not only physically made me ill, but like really bitten me in the butt in many cases.
Yes.
And because we're taught to ignore it. We're literally taught to ignore it. And like Cara and I mean, it was like for you, I mean, we've talked about this, so I'm making an assumption. It's terrifying, right? Like the actual act of like, I'm going to let this thing go because I feel like I'm getting called to this other thing. I don't know what the hell's over here. Like, I know what it is, but I don't know how the hell this ends. Like,
listen,
okay.
Every time I have this conversation, I'm so proud of myself now because every time I have this conversation, I get so emotional with it. And I'm proud of myself for not getting really emotional. And not to say, guys, it may happen. We still got a few more minutes. But I get so right. I get so emotional with it because for two reasons. It's a lot. And it's terrifying. And I know what I had to get through to get through it, right? And to take the first step. I know what had to happen to me to transform me to be ready for that. And also, I loved my job, right? And so I get emotional because I'm so amazed at that transformation, right? I would never, ever, ever, ever change it. Like it all, it's obstacles and it's challenging. However, it's obstacles and it's challenging when you are out of alignment and you're at that job that's killing you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, which one do you want? Because at least on this side, once you get over the obstacle and the challenge, there's glory, there's fulfillment, there's financial freedom, there's miracles, there's love. You know what I'm saying? Or you can stay here where you still got challenges and struggles, but you also got depression. You also got anger, you're lethargic and you're tired, you're miserable, right? So like, why don't you take the challenge and the struggle that's here, because at least there's glory on the other side. Exactly. And so I get so emotional because I know what it took for me to get to this place, and I know there's so much more road to travel, and I'm so amazed by the transformation of it. And the second reason that it's so emotional for me, because I'm so grateful. I am so grateful because a lot of people spend their entire life. It's a quote, and I forgot who it's by, but he says, there's a lot of people go through life without ever knowing themselves, right? And so I'm so grateful to have been on this journey and to be like, oh my God, this is the true expression of who I am is coming forth. And I know that there's so much more. Like I literally can see it. There's so much more, so much evolution to happen, so much more, ways to express myself and things that I'm like, holy crap, I used to love doing that when I was a kid. I need to get back to doing that, and so I'm so grateful. And so to your point, Lauren, about, and again, that's what Pretty Passionate is all about in the LEAP program. That's why I have dedicated my life to now helping women who have this similar experience where they feel something and they're like, sometimes they don't know what it is, right? They're like, there's something, but I don't know. And Lauren, I know that's like your space. Like, I know you work with a lot of your clients in the space of like not really knowing your purpose, your call, that passion. What is that? And then there's a lot of women and people in general, but I focus a lot on women who know I love to do this, or I know what this is, but they're paralyzed by fear from taking action. And so that's what Pretty Passionate is about. That's what the LEAP program is about, to help you with that transition, to help you with that evolution, because let me tell you, it is not easy. And I've been, honestly, like Lauren said, I've been, and us both, but I've been doing a lot of the personal development work, a lot of practicing universal law and looking and searching for years. Okay, I've been searching and looking and running and going back for years. Now, if you just started to feel the call, you can search for years. Or, you know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, we have dedicated our lives to being like, listen, we can do this together. And then some people feel the call and they never get there, you know? So, yeah.
Yes. Also, this is one of the things I love about us too, is that like we do the same thing. It's just for like different parts of the process. Like Cara is like all about like bringing the power. Like she's like that. Her program is really about like igniting you and just like getting you going. And for me, it's like, I do a little bit of that, but it's really more in a I work more one-on-one with people, and it's really geared towards that, like that earlier phase of like, wow, I'm really good at like most, like people who are really good at being achievement oriented. They're really good at getting the next big job. They're good at being like up leveling their career in a really traditional way. And by playing by all of these rules that we're taught to play by in order to be successful, but they've got this little nagging feeling where it's like, this isn't what my life's supposed to be about. This isn't the thing. Like, this is on some level, you know, it's killing you. Like, you know that it's not for you. And it's like, how do you actually, first off, get closer, get more refined in your ability to hear that voice, and like strengthen your relationship with yourself so much that you know what alignment is. And then once you know, I send you to Cara. Basically, it's how
we get into action.
Like she will light a fire under your butt, but like first it's like actually because I think also for me a lot of it, and this segues nicely into one of my questions for you, Cara. Like, because it's like I want to know more about what you did to get clear, and like for me, to answer my own question first, which I think really is like one of the reasons that I've dedicated my career to this, is that for me it was like it actually took me stopping. It actually took me being like, wow, I'm so good at like there was a moment, y'all, where I had same thing journaled, but not in a really like evolved, transformed way. Like I had sat down and I was like, I'm going to get to 13% body fat. I'm going to finish my PhD. I'm going to move to New York City. I'm going to get a job that pays this much in this industry. Like, this is the kind of work I'll be doing. It was like my list of like, this stuff is not possible.
Yeah.
And then I was so, did I ever tell you that? So I was so fortunate because a few months later, I looked back at that journal entry and I was like,
holy
oh my
crap.
God, I did every single thing. I did every single thing, and it's still not right. Why is it still not right? And it took me literally getting off the hamster wheel, which was the scariest thing I ever did. Like, it literally took me being like, you know what? I'm saying no to that new project. I'm saying no to that, like that crazy diet that's going to get me to 13% body fat. I'm saying no to this and that. And I'm actually slowing down. I'm getting quiet and getting connected with myself. And that was the scariest thing I've ever done. Because when you slow down, you see a bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily want to see.
Wow.
But then once you figure it out and you're like, all right, this is who I am. This is who I am. I got it. And then you move, nothing can stop you.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's over.
So how did you, Cara, what did you do? Like, what did that process look like for you? Like, because for you, you knew it was the Pretty Passionate Network, but like, what was the thing before that? Like, what did that process look like?
So for me, I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to pinpoint exactly where it was like that switch. It was like, whoa. Well, I know so I know what kicked it off. like kicked me into high gear, or started to kick me into gear, I had went through a breakup.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know,
Sorry, keep going.
I went through a breakup, and you know, at that you're like, okay, wait. So what I thought my life was gonna look like, it may not look like that. Okay. And so again, so I guess it's similar in the sense of having a moment to stop and reevaluate some things. But the breakup is what kicked me into that. And I was like, okay, let me look at this for a minute. Let me examine this. So it was the breakup, and then it was me starting to in my current position that I held, it was killing me. Like, I got extremely uncomfortable, and I was like working from sun up to sundown, like answering emails 2:00 in the morning, getting up, like traveling literally every week, and I loved it. But it got to a point where, again, I started to shed what it meant to be successful. And I'm like, it looks great on the outside, and it's amazing, but am I fulfilled? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I started thinking, like, if I want to start a family, like if I had a family, I wouldn't be able to do this, you know? So what does fulfillment look like for me? And so the compilation of that breakup and my kind of experience at my current position getting so stressful, it forced me to be like, hold the F up. What is my life right now?
Hold the phone.
Hold the freaking phone. What is my life right now? And so I stopped, and I had to think, and I got really still. And I've always been in church and, you know, believed in a higher power. But that moment, I crossed a different threshold. And it was, I would never forget it, October 2018. I crossed into a different realm, if you, so to speak. And with my relationship with God, with my spirituality, with my relationship with myself, when I stopped and really started to ask these questions, like the hard questions, right? And not be afraid of like doing the work. Because a lot of people will ask the questions, and then when they realize they're not who they want to be, or who they're supposed to be, or who they're being called to be, they're terrified of starting all over, right? And so they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the work, and they're like, I'm not doing it. And I knew that if I was gonna build, I was gonna have to build from scratch. And you know, it's like, but it's not scratch, right? Because what I was doing in my marketing career is literally what I do for women, right? So with my big clients like State Farm, Ulta Beauty, Nike, and the list goes on, I would help them uncover, for a marketing campaign, I would help them uncover their message, develop a marketing like plan, so a vision, and then strategy to bring that vision to life. And then I would actually go out into the market and execute it for them. And so that's what I help women do. Help them uncover their message, their story, who you are, what value, what's your value proposition to the world. Help them develop a vision for their life, the strategy, and then action to take it. So to your point, it was I got still, but what catapulted me there was the breakup and me being uncomfortable in my current position.
Yeah. What's so interesting too, because it's making me think, oh my gosh, there's that too. Because I've been writing a bunch actually recently. But for me, for some reason, breakups are like, I almost don't want to say this out loud because I feel like the universe is gonna like hear and be like, yay, okay, like coming right up. Like, but breakups for me are always the thing that catapult me into a stupid amount of growth. Like, holy crap. Please.
I think they do that for a lot of people too.
Anymore. I'm like, please stop. I don't want to, just please. I give a break from them, but I'm grateful for them because they always catapult me into a ton of growth. So that's also another parallel, is that like I had a really bad breakup back in like 2016 with a really wonderful human, but who like really, who I wish so much love. But whoa, like it leveled me. And it's actually, so that's number one, is that I think heartbreak and tragedy, breakups, quarantines, job loss, death, unfortunately, like have us stop and really look and slow down and look at our lives and look at like y'all, if you have like a nagging feeling about something, whether it's a next career or like someone who you love, who like you're feeling called towards, or a relationship that you don't feel like is quite right for you, or whatever the thing is, that thing, you know what it is. You know what it is because you're probably protecting it and it's in your gut and you're like, no, I don't want to let this thing go. And because I've been there, I've had that feeling where I'm like, no, please, not right now. I can't. I don't want to let it go.
It's
and
mine.
Like, oh God, it's mine. Oh, girl,
it's mine.
like
but
where it's like
I
I
have a
see the
vision
thing.
for it.
I see the thing that I want, right? Or that I like want on a soul level, but I'm so afraid of it. I literally had that moment where I go like, nope, that's not happening. We're not doing that. I'm safe over here. I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting go of the lifeboat under no circumstances. So I know the feeling, but like, oh, guys, like, sorry, not to be gendered, folks, y'all, life is short. Life is so short. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. Like we literally, like, not to be morbid, but you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. It like, what do you want to do with your time? What do you want your life to be about? Like, now is the time to slow down and think about it, because we literally do not know what tomorrow holds. Yeah. The thing, take it from us who are on the other side of all of the storming of all of it, man, like, I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say it's graceful. I'm not going to say that it doesn't feel like you're face planting sometimes, but the thing on the other side is like straight up magic, because also the thing on the other side is you. It's like, it's actually you and your life.
Let's go back to magic real quick.
So, yeah.
It is magic. Let me tell you. Let me say it again.
Yeah.
It is magic. I would not lie. And to Lauren's point, it's not easy. And this is why we have the Pretty Passionate Insider Network, why we have the LEAD program, why Lauren has her practice and has dedicated her life to it. It's not easy, so you have support. But I would never, ever, ever, ever trade it for anything in the world. Ever. It's magic. The feeling that you get, and like you said, Lauren, and you were about to go into, it's you and your life. Holy crap, like, I'm free, and you are free from, and it's a process to get there, but you're free from, oh, what do people think about me? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is the truest expression of who I am. What do I have to say? I'm going to say it because it's true to me. No one can ever tell you anything about yourself. You know, I remember growing up and being so insecure, and people could say anything about me and I would believe it and question myself. And a lot of people ask me now, how are you so confident? I know who the F I am. And that's it. At the core, I know who I am, and I know who God created me to be. And I am going for it. You know what I'm saying? And it's magic. And I've never been able to say that prior to this.
Yeah, me neither. Well, and I think, oh my gosh, because I've thought about that a lot, right? Because sometimes it requires letting some people down, like, yeah. And maybe not in the long term. In the long term, oftentimes people, like, you know, like, for me, I think my family kind of eventually came around to the idea of me, like, lighting my life on fire once they saw how happy I was and all of these kinds of things. But there's like a minute there where, like, it requires, Glennon Doyle has this quote where she's like, your job, I'm going to butcher it. Your job is to disappoint as many people as possible, as long as it involves avoiding disappointing yourself.
Yes. I feel like I saw that. Yes.
It's something like that. I probably just totally effed it up. But like, like, this is the thing that we're talking about. And like, you might not know what that thing is for you yet. That's okay. It's not like I think for Cara, well, actually, even in your story, it really was kind of like, you kind of just had a lot of faith and just kept going after the next thing. And then the Pretty Passionate Network was created. And then you were like, all right, we're doing it. And like, for me, it was like, there were years of me sitting there and being like, I don't want to do any of this. I'm terrified, but thinking and marinating. And then it was like, oh, it's coaching. Like for me, it was a very quick, I was like, oh, got it. Okay. It's coaching. And like, now that's evolving a little bit now that I'm out and like really have made that leap. But like you might not know what it is, and that's okay. Your process is going to look different. Like everyone's process looks a bit different. For some people, it's like, I work with some people who are like, I work with a couple of creatives and like who have known that this is the particular medium that they've always wanted to pursue, but they've been afraid to do it because you're told that as an artist, you won't make any money, or like they have this big dream that they've been told is completely irrational, so they table it. So there are certain people who like have always known. There are certain people who need to figure out how to discover it. Like that thing for you, your process will look different. But the main thing I think Cara and I would probably leave you with is like, have the courage to actually allow yourself to explore the things that you're naturally drawn to and that actually light your soul on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. And then figure and light your soul on fire, and then figure out a way how to use that to be of service to someone else. And when you figure out a way, and when you figure out a way how to be of service and how to add value, you've also figured out a way how to make money from it, how to make it a living, because people pay for value.
Yes. I actually really, really believe this was the quote. Did we start talking about this quote? Were we talking about this last week? I'm like, it's all blurring together. But the quote, again, Glennon Doyle, my girl, she was like, she has some quote where it's like, the things that, like, beautiful things are etched on the souls of women. Like when we, or people, not to make it gendered, but like, when we actually get in touch with like really, really what lights us up, and then looking at how we can create impact and change from that place, I actually believe that that's the thing that changes the world.
Oh, it does.
Really.
Hands down.
It's like, I actually believe that if everybody did that, the world would be a fundamentally different place, and for the better. Like,
yeah.
Like the things that people want, the things that we're passionate, the thing that you're passionate about might be the thing that really pisses you off. Thinking about like racial inequality in the United States, or like poverty, or children not having access to water. Like, I don't know what your thing is, but if you actually let yourself be moved by that thing and actually move into action, that could also be the call.
Yeah. I agree 100%. That is what changes the world. And I agree with you, Lauren, that if a lot of people acted and performed in their purpose and in that space, the world will be a balanced place, because everyone will have a lane, right? Because the artists will be the artists, the teachers will be the teachers, the leaders will be the leaders. Everyone has a place, and the world will function a lot smoother. But yeah, oh my God, this is so good. So to sum it up,
I have no idea what time it is.
Oh, it's 10:53. Oh, okay. So we're good on time, so we can start wrapping it up. Okay. Because last week it cut off on us.
Last week we got cut off.
So yeah, I mean, any parting words, Lauren, for someone? They're like, I know that there's something, but I don't know what that something is. And I feel like you kind of said it, like having the courage to explore it. But yeah, I feel like we both said it, because then I said in terms of taking action. But if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah, so I think like depending on where you are in this process, because I think honestly everyone has some version of this. It's just how close you are to fully discovering what it is for you that allows you to really be fully like what's your full self-expression look like in terms of your career, your life, your personal life, like all the things. So for me, because again, Cara and I deal with different parts of the process. For me, slow down, go inward, go inside, practice listening to yourself, and also practice listening to yourself. Like maybe sometimes for some people, like going from 0 to what's my life's purpose is a little high gradient. Like that's a little, it's like, wait, they've never even asked themselves what they want in their lives. And then suddenly they're supposed to decide what their life's purpose is. It's a little scary. Like that's a lot. That's a pretty big Like it might be a little like let's going from never getting off your couch to trying to climb Mount Everest. But just actually getting practiced, right? Like that's like how people tend to do it though. And I think so getting more well practiced and actually connecting with yourself and what you want and need, and starting asking yourselves these questions, and don't freak out when you don't have an answer. But slow down, go inward, start exploring, get curious, give yourself space to like not know right now.
Yeah.
And then once you start getting clearer, just take the next step and the next step and the next step. And then it's going to get clear. Like it's going to get clear that this is the thing that I want to do. You just have to have faith that it'll happen.
Yeah.
And I think then it's a matter of, and then, you know, it's a matter also of getting supported, like, which is, I think, like Kara's programs. I've seen these things. Like I've met the people in them. I've supported you with some of the calls and things like that. The women are phenomenal, and I just gotta shout my girl out here. A shout out to my girl here. Like the thing that you're doing is amazing. And I think creating a community of people who are like-minded is like so important, because doing it on your own is scary. So go inside, go inward, get quiet, start small. It's a constant self-awareness and asking yourselves questions game, and give yourself a lot of forgiveness and a lot of space when you don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
I do also feel like one of the themes that's emerging in this call is like, there feels like there is a little bit of a spiritual component to this, and it doesn't have to be God. It doesn't have to be like, for me, it's very much like the universe, energy. You know, God can be a doorknob. Have I said that on here before? Like, yeah, they say like, it just has to be outside of you. It can be like other people. It can be a community, but get connected to something larger than you.
Yeah.
Because if it's all occurring in your fishbowl, it's going to feel really, really intense, and like it's all on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Cara, what you got?
I agree. And then I think in terms of for the people who kind of know what that is, and you're like, man, but I just had this fear, or I'm stuck. I have so many ideas and I don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, create, think about, try to pick just one of them, and the thing that you can start to do now, and begin to take steps. And I think we overwhelm ourselves when we look at the big plate. And I want to challenge everyone to just start small, just one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. You know, if you're like, I want to lose 30 pounds, you know, just think about the first pound, right? So now today it's eating right. Now tomorrow, you know, it's working out, you know, and the next day it's working out 2 times a day, you know, or if it's like, I want to get up earlier so that I can, you know, because a lot of people right now, they're like, oh, I have this idea, this business, but I don't have time. So just start with 20 minutes a day working on it. And we're about to get shut off in 2 minutes. So start small, don't get overwhelmed, and meet us next Monday at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we still need to figure out a topic. But
yeah,
I've got some ideas. We're gonna talk after this.
Yes. So let's go out. We got a minute, so let's go out to our song. I'm gonna start it all over. You gotta dance, Lauren.
I know. I'm like, I get so weird on camera.
I'll tell you when we add 1 minute.
Hey, Jeff. I will eventually learn the TikTok song.
I'm a savage, attitude nasty, talk big shit, but my bank account match it. Hood, but I'm classy, rich, but I'm
Lauren, I don't see you dancing.
My name in their mouth, not a gagging.
Oh, and you can get the mug on prettypassionate.com.
What? I can't see. You're all foggy.
Really?
What's it say?
It says busy, praying, planning, executing.
I love that.
All right, guys. Till next week. We got 50 seconds, but we don't have to go all the way to the second. All right, love you guys.
Bye.